Okay, well, you may have seen my other video where I talked about how to change the U-joints on the rear shaft of a Nissan Titan. This would be the 04 to 2015 models. Mine's a 2006. I finally got around to doing the front shaft now, and this time I took the video with it out of the truck, so hopefully this shows you a little better what I'm talking about. I have the shaft here. It came out of the truck pretty easy. There was four, what size were they? Maybe 14mm bolts, I forget. But anyways, 4 bolts on each side, holding it in to both the transfer case and to the front differential. And I loosened those at 3 off one side, 3 off the other side, and then loosen the last 2 before I take them out, because one side's gonna drop, and if you drop it before your bolt is loose, you're not gonna be able to get it loose anymore. Before I took it off, I marked, you can see here I marked both on this little it's not really a yoke, but this little piece that holds onto the transfer case, and also on the shaft itself, so those are aligned. And I also marked on the transfer case and the differential what that alignment was too. So when I put this back together, it's back together the way it was. So we don't hopefully have any problems with balance or weight. So what you'll do here, you can see I'm done. I've already put the new ones in. But you'll take your old one out, and probably this will be pretty loose. In your case, that'd be why you're replacing it. And what I used here was my ball joint press tool. Now you don't have to use this, you can do this with a socket and a hammer, which I also used a little bit. But this tool is really useful for not smacking around your sensitive drive shaft here, especially when you're doing the rear. If you dent that thing a little bit, you're going to have a wobble and be out of balance and have a whole bunch of other problems. So what I did was, with your ball joint press, you can get these on Harbor Freight, on Amazon. They're not that much, and they really have come in handy for me. You can see there's a hole there. You align this with the top of the ball joint, and use your impact to just carefully push it out. Your old ball joint will come out, maybe this much before it stops. And at that point, I took a piece of vice grips, or a pair of vice grips, and pulled on that cap and took it out. So then you'll have an exposed U-joint. At that point, I flipped this around and pushed it the other way out. Took the same vice grips and pulled the cap off there. And once you have your U-joint with the 2 caps off, it'll come loose of this. And you just repeat the same steps on the other side. And once you have your new one, you just kind of reverse those steps. You take the caps off 2 sides. Be very careful not to get a bunch of dirt or garbage in there. And carefully align your first cap with your U-joint and slide it in. And then I use this press to just carefully push it so the cap was about even here with the with its home. And then I did the same to the other side carefully and got it even. And then to finalize that pushing together, that was when I used my socket here and my hammer, and just tapped the cap on a little bit tighter to the point that it aligned with this groove here. The joints you want to use for this on the Titan on the front are, these are Spicer Greasable 5-1310-1X. I like the Greasable, and they come with a whole bunch of different C-clips here of different thicknesses. You can find one that works for you. For me, the gray ones were the ones that fit best, because you want this to spin rather freely and not, be binding up or having issues that way. So, like I said, I chose the Greasable one. I filled it up with a good synthetic grease. Make sure you're not mixing your greases. Use the same one each time, so you don't have a problem like grease collapse. But that's really it. Both ends are the same joint, and once you have it put together, just check to make sure there's no binding, make sure that it turns smoothly, and at that point go put it back in your truck and make sure you align your markings on the differential and on the drive shaft, or the transfer case, and just carefully bolt it back in. It's not a hard job. It might take you a few hours the first time, but certainly not worth paying a shop to do when it can be done at home. So let me know if you have questions. I always try to answer the comments very quickly. If you have an issue, I try to get back to you. Give it a try. Thanks.